General Muhammadu Buhari played a key role in our struggles during the MPN government. I believe it was in 1983 or so when we were in charge. He played a key role and he did a very good job. And he brought honor to our armed forces, and he really did a good job for us. So I commend him for that. I will not, however, commend him for some of the things that he has said in recent history. And what you say, once you say you want to run for public office, becomes relevant. Because we can only judge you by what you say and what you tell us your intentions are. Let's look at the evidence. In 2002 or thereabouts, when President Olusegun Obasanjo was in power, there was an orchestrated attempt to destabilize the nation. Rather like what is going on today with President Goodluck Jonathan in power. It's the same agenda. And the thinking then was this: we have a Southern president in power, that is Obasanjo, and he has created a level playing field. And he has rejected the philosophy that some were born to rule and others were born to be slaves. And he has rejected the philosophy that one faith is more relevant and more important than the other. He believes that all nationalities and tribes in this country are equal. He believes that the faith of Islam and Christianity are equal. And he believes that such matters should not be allowed to feature in governance. I mean, we're all equal. That was his view. Now, in order to destabilize him, some individuals in this country came up with this idea of political Sharia. We all know about it. We were all there. We witnessed it. And I wasn't in government at the time, but I remember criticizing President Obasanjo effectively in a series of articles that he should have come down very hard on them and enforced the federal constitution, which did not and still does not allow for the practice of criminal Sharia law in any state of the Federation. Well, Obasanjo's view was that it would fizzle out. And in a way it did, though it resurrected in the form of Boko Haram almost a decade later. We'll come to that later. It fizzled out. But it shook the country, it rocked the West African sub-region, and indeed, it shook the whole world. And what on earth is going on in Nigeria? People's limbs are being chopped off for stealing a loaf of bread in some parts of Nigeria. That's not the Nigeria. We were all concerned. And the idea was to push Obasanjo into doing something that would spark off a civil war and would ensure that this country was either dismembered or would be in turmoil. Why? Because some people believe that they must be there at all costs. But anyway, it didn't work. But let me tell you why I'm telling you all this. General Muhammadu Buhari at that time made a statement, he made a comment, he said, and he was the only head of state, former head of state or former president that said this. He came out and said he had the full intention, if he were ever elected to be president of Nigeria, of spreading Sharia to every single part of this country. That is to say, he wanted Sharia in the east, he wanted it in Akwa Ibom, where you come from, he wanted it in Yoruba land, he wanted it in the Middle Belt, he wanted it imposed all over the country. That is the cutting off of limbs, the stoning of women, almost for adultery, almost Afghanistan, Taliban, Afghanistan type of government, where women are not allowed to watch television, must be covered from head to toe in hijab, and all these type of very strange practices. He said he wanted full criminal Sharia throughout the country, and it was his intention to do that if he were elected as president. That is number one. Statement of intent. It's on record. Please check it out. It's there. He said it. That is one. Two, he didn't stop there. He went a step further by saying that Muslims in Nigeria should vote only for Muslim candidates. When he was challenged, because everyone was alarmed, including the sitting president at the time, Obasanjo, criticized him. How could you say this? You were one side of state. This is an irresponsible comment. This is a multi-religious, multicultural, multi-everything country. And we've been living happily together. You can't make statements like that. He now quickly said, no, that's not what he said that, but he didn't mean that. What he meant was that Muslims should vote for people that will protect their interests, as if to say there's a distinction between the two. But the initial statement that he made was that Muslims should only vote for Muslims. Statement of intention. Clear. And it's on record. Please cross-check. He didn't stop there. This same gentleman went on to say, again at that time, that why should anybody in this country be concerned about Sharia? Why should Christians bother? After all, if we, meaning the Muslims, cut off our limbs, or cut off the limbs of one another for stealing bread, or we stone women for adultery, or we impose Sharia on one another, it's our business. It is not the business of the Christians, it's not the business of anybody else. That's what we want. This coming from a former head of state. It's on record. It is there. He said it. Well, luckily for us all, and perhaps unluckily for him, the whole Sharia thing, by the power and the grace of the living God, fizzled out, as Obasanjo said it would, and he was not elected as president, and his intentions to spread Sharia and to cause Muslims to vote for only Muslims, and all the other things he said did not come to pass. And we thank God for that. Gentlemen, how many years later is the leading, and let me emphasize this whole charade of they're having other presidential candidates or aspirants in the APC is nothing but a charade. He is the candidate. That was the plan from the beginning. That is their intention. He will be their candidate. It's possible, in line with his thinking, that he may select a running mate who is also a Muslim, although that has created problems for them because everybody has pointed out what we have in this country today. Let's move on. Again, let's look at the evidence, and let's bring it a little bit closer to today's day, because I'm talking about things that happened a number of years ago and statements that were made a number of years ago. Let's bring it up to date a little bit. 2013, last year, I'm still on General Buhari, a man that is entitled to his views, who I respect, but who I disagree with, and who I don't believe ought to be given the privilege of running the affairs of this country.